Welcome back to Tinygrams Games, and I'm here with another Elder Scrolls Legends video. And today I want to talk about the deck that I just took to Legend, which is Control Mage. So you may be saying, a video on Control Mage, what? We know how this deck works. But I've done something a little bit different with the deck that I wanted to share with people. So the main difference is I put in Forsworn Guide. Now this is a card that I had tried when I first tried Control Mage. I didn't really know how the archetype worked very well. I didn't know how to play the deck well. I didn't have all the cards for the deck. It was kind of an unmitigated disaster. So Forsworn Guide came out, and I went to a more traditional build. But I was talking to Sejan Odamunga the other day, and he was saying how when he gets all the cards, he has this really cool Forsworn Guide deck he wants to make. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, that's right, I forgot how amazing that card is. I'm going to put him back in. And lo and behold, he has been amazing. I will say, though, he hasn't fit in quite how you might think he would. Like, there's so many people with come into play effects who would think, like, the Cunning Ally would be amazing. You could do Daggerfall Mage, and then lose the ward, and then get him back. And those are all possibilities, but they often can be too slow. And so what I end up doing is using him with really game-breaking things. Like, sometimes I'll do that. But one of my favorite combos is to use him with Shrieking Ally. Shrieking Harpy, that is. Shrieking Harpy is really good on its own, but when you can loop it and bring it back and use it again to keep locking down the same guy, like let's say there's a Kinsman and it's early, but you know they're pretty aggressive and it's just a pain in the rear and you have no real way to handle it, being able to just lock it down twice in a row can be really good. Same with like a Burglar or something. There's just some really great plays you can do there. My favorite play that I made with the Harpy was to go turn 7, Harpy, Guide, Harpy, lock down both of the big bombs he had in the Shadow Lane, and then next turn drop the Dawn's Wrath, which I had in hand. That felt real good. So Forsworn Guide can be really good. You sometimes can live in Magical Christmas Land. I got one game where I played turn 9 with the Elixir, Nakreen into Miraak, stealing his best guy. Next turn I played both guides on Nakreen and Miraak, threatening to do it again. Now I won the game before I got to do it again, but still my opponent must have been going, I can't play a good character because I know he has Miraak. So, you know, it had the double doozy of I'm going to steal a guy, and you can't even play your best guy because I'm just going to steal him instantly. Arian is another great person to loop, especially if you know which spells in the graveyard or you just need any spell to control the board. Arian can be especially useful. The bottom line is Forsworn Guide has been really good. I feel like he satisfies a number of interesting roles. Like, he's at a super greedy control card. Like, being able to loop Manacora or Nakreen or Miraak or Ordoving or any of these cards is crazy greedy and can be very game-breaking. But he can also really set you up against slightly more aggressive decks by being able to reset Hive Defender. By being able to replay some of the guys we talked about. He comes out as a 3/3 if he's bouncing somebody. So he can be somewhat useful early, especially in combination with the Shrieking Harpy, and incredibly greedy late. So I love those cards that sort of fit two roles. And speaking of that, that's this exact same role that Shrieking Harpy fills. And that's why I put 2 copies of Shrieking Harpy in the deck. The fact that she's a prophecy in addition to everything else seems crazy to me. Like, it's really strong when you can prophecy her in, lock down someone that's about to swing for quite a bit, then bounce her back with Guide next turn and bring her right back. Like, you can just do some really crazy things with this card. Some other cards that I've added, like if you've been watching my stream and you know my decks, I'm just going to talk about some differences that I've had. A big one is Oradin Paladin. I was running the Pillaging Tribune last time, and the Pillaging Tribune is fine, but he's a 5-drop. So I decided to put in a 4-drop that fights this slightly more aggressive metagame that we're seeing. So he handles that pretty well. And depending on how aggressive it is, like I played against a Battle Mage deck in my last game to hit Legend, and I was able to loop him 3 times, not loop him, but use him 3 times. That is a lot of drain. That was 12 drain just from him. So he can be incredibly useful. I went down to 2 healing potions. I want a 3rd one. I want a 3rd Shrieking Harpy. It's just a matter of having the slots. I dropped Ice Storm down to 2, which is sort of the norm. I took out the Tiger. The Tiger's great. Like, don't get me wrong. The Tiger's amazing. The problem is, I started to think of the Tiger as the card that loses you games, right? Like the Tiger's awesome when he works, but what ends up happening quite often is against an aggressive deck, you drop the Tiger turn 6 as your, okay, I think I'm going to stabilize. And they go Piercing Javelin, Shadow Fen, Earthbone Spinner, Lurker, all that removal that they had, they've been saving for a moment like this. Javelin, your Tiger dies, they push through for, 8 more, and now you're on the brink of death. So I've come to think of the Tiger as the card that loses games, even against an aggressive metagame. And I actually like Fate Weaver better in aggressive metagames because you can pop a Prophecy and you can get a free 3/3 early with a draw, which can be really strong. So I basically slotted in Fate Weaver over Tiger, and I've been pretty happy with that choice. The last major change I've made is Mirac. I mean, most people are running Mirac. This is no big shocker like, oh, Tiny Grimes is using Mirac. She's really good in the control mirror, and it's just a great card. And I now feel like I have more room in the deck. I feel like what this version has done is it has become better against control decks and better against aggressive decks. And I feel very happy about that I could take a deck and make it better against essentially all archetypes. So I feel like this is an upgrade over at least the version that I've been playing in the past. I'm not sure if you guys will have the same kind of success I had with Forsworn Guide. Hope you will. Hopefully he'll become just like the staple card in Control Mage. Actually, let me rephrase that. I hope he doesn't. I hope nobody plays him and only I play him. But I think he will become a staple card. He's really, really good. So give him a try. Hope you enjoy the last. Hope you have as much success as I had. I'll just show you real quick my profile so you can see it. In the last, so I jumped in at like 57, and in the last 11, I think I went 11-3 with the deck. So it was a very good, successful run starting here. And this is all at rank 1, by the way. One of these losses is because in the middle of the game, my daughter needed something, and I ran into her room, and I came back, and a Shrieking Harpy had come off as a Prophecy, and just as I went to go use her to lock down the board, it went into hand, and then it ended up losing an extremely close game that Harpy would have won. So, yeah, that happened. But yeah, Dex was very successful. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you have as much success as I had, and tune into my stream every Monday through Friday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific. Check out the Secrets of the Scrolls, my Elder Scrolls podcast, and I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time on Tiny Grimes Games.